I'm introducing the book version of Bridge to Terabithia. It's by Katherine Paterson. It's considered a friendship fiction and a death fiction. It was published in 1977 by HarperCollins, and it won a Newbery Medal the year after in '78. The book was actually inspired by the author's son's best friend, Lisa Hill, dying in a tragic accident. She was actually struck by lightning on the beach.
The book is about Jess as a young boy, and he's the only brother. He has all sisters, and he's like really left out in his family, and his dad doesn't really think he's the greatest kid because he really likes to draw, and his dad thinks that's sissy, and all his friends at school think that it's sissy because he wants to be an artist. So he spends all summer preparing for a race, and he wants to race all the boys at school so he can prove that like he's a real man and he can do this. But what happens is a new girl comes and beats all of the guys in the race, and he kind of gets upset about it at first, but he finds out that she moves in on his road. And actually she's going to read first, and then the clip's going to be on the reading.
Leslie was grinning at him over Maybelle's head. "Well," he said happily. "See you. Hey, do you think we could do something this afternoon?" "Me too. I want to do something too," Maybelle shrilled. Jess looked at Leslie. No was in her eyes. "Not this time, Maybelle. Leslie and I got something we gotta do just by ourselves today. You can carry my books home and tell Mama I'll be over at the Berks, okay? You ain't got nothing to do. You ain't even planned nothing." Leslie came and leaned over Maybelle, putting her hands on the little girl's thin shoulder. "Maybelle, would you like some new paper dolls?" Maybelle slid her eyes around suspiciously. "What kinds?" "Life in colonial America." Maybelle shook her head. "I want Bride and Miss America." "You can pretend these are Bride paper dolls. They have lots of beautiful long dresses." "What's the matter with them?" "Nothing. They're brand new." "How come you don't want them if they're so great?" "When you're my age," Leslie gave a little sigh, "you just don't play with paper dolls anymore. My grandmother sent me these. You know how it is. Grandmothers just forget you're growing up." Maybelle's own one living grandmother was in Georgia and never sent her anything. "You already punched them out?" "No, honestly. And all the clothes punch out too. You don't have to use scissors." They could see she was weakening. "How about," Jess began, "you come down and take a look at them. If they suit you, you can take them home when you go tell Mama where I am." After they had watched Maybelle tearing up the hill, clutching her new treasures, Jess and Leslie turned and ran up over the empty field behind the old Perkins place and down to the dry creek bed that separated farmland from the woods. There was an old crab apple tree there, just at the bank of the creek bed, for which someone long forgotten had hung a rope. They took turns swinging across the gully on the rope. It was a glorious autumn day, and if you looked up as you swung, it gave you the feeling of floating. Jess leaned back and drank in the rich, clear color of the sky. He was drifting like a fat, white, lazy cloud back and forth across the blue. "Do you know what we need?" Leslie called to him. Intoxicated as he was in the heavens, he couldn't imagine needing anything on earth. "We need a place," she said, "just for us. It would be so secret that we would never tell anyone in the whole world about it." Jess came swinging back and dragging his feet to stop. She lowered her voice almost to a whisper. "It might be a whole secret community," she continued, "and you and I would be rulers of it." Her words stirred inside of him. He'd like to be a ruler of something, even something that wasn't real. "Okay," he said. "Where could we have it?" "Over there, in the woods, where nobody can come and mess it up." There was a part of the woods that Jess did not like, dark places where it was almost like being underwater. But he didn't say so. "I know," she was getting excited. "It could be a magic country like Narnia, and the only way you can get in is by swinging across on this enchanted rope." Her eyes were bright. She grabbed the rope. "Come on," she said. "Let's find a place to build our castle stronghold." Okay, so now we're going to do a critique on the film. Well, pretty much the entire film, besides the clip, does a very good job at following the plot line of the book. It doesn't change the ending, which is very surprising. The main characters are all the same, although Jesse's young sister, which you saw, Maybelle, she plays a bit of a larger role in the film. The book, as I mentioned before, is considered a death and friendship fiction, but the movie portrays it more as an adventure and fantasy film. In the clip previews, if you've ever seen them, they show these creatures and stuff, and there's no creatures in the book. It's just a place for their friendship to grow. That's it.
Some of the things we would talk about if when showing the film would be like the lighting and the emphasis that they use on the camera, like on Leslie as she's swinging across the creek, because that's a really important part of the movie because it kind of foreshadows what's going to happen on that swing later on in the movie. And we said after reading the novel and viewing the film, we would work on setting and character development. We would have students like write a journal about a world like that they would make up all on their own and what it would be like. And then they could get into groups with other people and share what their world would be like. And together they would have to come up with like a poster of their own Terabithia and what like their own little imaginary world would look like. And so they could create their own setting and their own characters and kind of make it like as elaborate as possible, so they could really like use their imagination. And
To show the terminology that we learned, they use low-key lighting when they're swinging on the rope, which you notice that like everything behind it was really dark and just the characters were lit up. They also glorified the swing with the music, and they used the high-angle tilt, which just showed her face while she's swinging across. So that's to glorify that part even more because of the foreshadowing aspect of it. I'm going to pass out these.
Okay, let's give them a hand.